So continuing with biodiversity and interdependence, I'd like you to have a go at this Do Now Connect activity. So what I need you to do is describe the graph you can see on this slide. You can see that the green line represents the snowshoe hare and the red line the Arctic fox. What patterns can you see? Describe what is happening to the snowshoe hare population over the years and what's happening to the Arctic fox population over the years. Is there any relationship between the two? Have a look, describe it for me now. This lesson is going to be all about feeding relationships, but at the end of the lesson you're going to be able to explain how organisms within an ecosystem interact. The success criteria and key vocabulary for the lesson are on the slide now, as well as the revision guide pages that will link to this lesson. Feeding relationships within a community are often represented by food chains. Photosynthetic organisms are the producers of biomass for life on Earth. It is these producers that will always be at the beginning of our food chain. Can you think of an example of a producer for me now? Within a food chain, producers are eaten by primary consumers, which in turn may be eaten by secondary consumers, and so on. You can see this represented in the diagrams on the slide now. So here's another graph showing a feeding relationship. So you've got the hare, which is the prey, and the lynx, which is the predator. There's a series of questions on this slide and answers to show you how you can step by step describe a pattern and the relationship between these two animals and their populations. What I'd like you to do now then is use the same steps that they went through on the previous slide to explain what is happening in this graph here. So it's the same graph we saw earlier, but now with the steps that we've seen on the next slide, we should be able to give a far more detailed and scientific answer. Once you've given that description, I'd then like you to complete the AQA predator-prey relationship questions, which you'll need to open the Word document to access.